And thank you for sticking with us here on News 19. I'm Chief Meteorologist Efra DeFonte. Well, a lot of you are still dealing with a lot of rainfall, and unfortunately, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But we are looking at the very likelihood at this point, especially in the central and northern Midlands, sometime between now over the next few hours and then certainly through about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, where we could have not only roads, but really any surfaces, especially elevated ones, that may be wet now. But as we go through the evening and overnight hours through early tomorrow morning, they're going to ice up as temperatures will drop below freezing. So there's no doubt that if you don't need to go out tonight, don't even take the chances. No need to, because you may be able to get somewhere now, but in about an hour or two, that same way home, that might get a little bit slick. So don't need to, don't go out. Right now, this is very interesting. Though it's 9 o'clock in the evening, there's no accidents being reported. The roads are moving very, very easily because hardly anybody's out right now. But all of this pink, that is all the areas that the roads could be icy. And obviously, that's not just the interstates. That could be the secondary and tertiary side roads as well. The green, that's where the roadways are wet. And it's indicative of what's showing on radar. Many areas in the western, central, north, northeast, even eastern Midlands, at least radar is indicating that there's freezing rain coming down. In actuality, a lot of that is very likely rain, but the temperatures, at least at the surface, are cold enough that once it makes contact, it's freezing, or undoubtedly elevated surfaces already are accumulating ice. Not so much down in most of Orangeburg, southern Calhoun, and Clarendon counties, where it is coming down as rain. It is cold, but it's not below freezing for the most part. So all of that really isn't coming down and affecting the roadways as of yet. That is undoubtedly going to change. We still do have these watches and warnings. Just to reiterate, that's where we're looking at the possibility in the Midland communities along and north of I-20 that we could see not so much snow, but we're looking at maybe the possibility from this point on that we could see accumulations of freezing rain to ice upwards of maybe 2/100 of an inch on these surfaces. 1/10 of an inch of ice on a power line will very likely bend it or take it down. The weather advisory for all of our communities that are pretty much on each side of I-95 and south of 20, we're looking at the possibility of anywhere from a trace of ice. So all this rain that's coming down will freeze over, but only leave a very thin layer of ice upwards of under 1/10 of an inch, or rather 5/100 of an inch of accumulated freezing rain or ice. All that expires by tomorrow morning, so just be aware of that, as well as all of just about South Carolina, with the exception of the Low Country and the coastline Grand Strand, are under some type of winter advisory or warning. All of the precipitation still continues to move, and just to take a look at what's going on in Georgia, it is starting to taper off finally in the Atlanta metro, all the way up to Athens. Rome is finally cleared out. Athens still getting a little bit of precipitation. Athens should be ending probably in the next 2 hours. Why is that indicative? That's heading towards the Northwest Midlands and the areas around the PD. All the precipitation that is along I-16 from Vidalia all the way to Savannah, that is also moving towards the northeast, and very likely all that pink that's just to the east of Macon and south of Augusta, that is going to track its way toward central and southern Midland communities from Columbia to Orangeburg and eventually eastward towards areas of Sumter, Ashwood, and Manning. So there's still a lot of precipitation. It is starting to break up, though, when you get to Macon and then further northwest Atlanta. Central and northern Georgia, all of the precipitation should end in the next 2 to 3 hours. Their precipitation for us, it's going to be much later than that, and we'll show you exactly what we're looking at as far as when everything will move out. Now, for a lot of you, you have rain right now, and step outside, I've seen that it is very steady rain. It really isn't turned into sleet or snow. Temperatures are either right at, or in most cases, just slightly above the freezing mark at 32 degrees. Well, that's one big thing. What we're going to be expecting as we start off later on tonight, as we head towards midnight, everything should pretty much turn into just rain. The temperatures, though, will slowly drop, but not until the rain ends. So this precipitation will be steady. It'll be continuous going through midnight, but as we get to about 3 o'clock in the morning, it really tapers off, and then at 4 o'clock at the latest, that's it. The rain should be done. By sunrise, a little after 7 o'clock, Northwest Midlands will start to see a little sunshine. By later on in the morning, everyone's going to start seeing a lot more sunshine, and that's it. The sunshine will allow everything to start melting and drying up thanks to winds that will be coming also out of the west. The downside is that we're still going to have an impact. Now, this was updated within the last hour. All our communities along and north of I-20 have a minor impact, and that impact is going to be icy roadways and the possibility of power outages. South of I-20, all the way down into our counties bordering the Low Country, there's going to be a limited amount, and that limited amount is going to be, again, a few slick spots that are iced over or a few power lines down causing power outages in some of our communities. The temperature in the morning, that's going to be the big thing. All of our temperatures are going to be hovering just below freezing. And keep in mind, the rain's going to end at roughly 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Sunrise is after 7 o'clock. So that 3.5 hour period, our temperatures, at least for that time frame, is going to be below freezing. So anything that's on the ground now that's wet is going to freeze over. It won't be until probably 10 to 11 o'clock that temperatures will finally break out of the freezing mark, and then things will start to thaw out. The problem is that not only are we going to have power that's going to go out for many areas that will have the issues with ice on the power lines, but if you haven't done it yet, charge your mobile devices, get your flashlights ready just in case. Have it handy. And again, the possibility of these power outages to occur, not so much if they happen and sustain, but when they should occur anytime between now to as late as 9 o'clock. The latest update that I saw in Newberry County alone, there was over 1,300 power outages. Those are per home, per home or per business. So that went up about 400 just in the last hour. So we're going to be dealing with this quite a while. And the big part is that we may have a refreeze because tomorrow morning we're going to be at 29 degrees, even though there's no rain, 46 degrees, and whatever has not melted yet, by tomorrow night we're going to drop down to 22. So if it's not completely gone, it's going to refreeze again on Sunday morning, so keep that in mind. We're going to continue updating all this information as we continue throughout the evening. Make sure you find all the information that you need at the tip of your fingers and your time on WLTX.com, as well as our WLTX Plus app and streaming services. For now, I'm News 19 Chief Meteorologist Efren Infante. Have a very safe evening, and hopefully you'll dry out a lot quicker.